Greetings one and all. Today I'm just going to go through and we'll have a look at how my Sintered Diamond Burs have aged. So that's a brand new set back there, and you can see it's exactly the same as the set I've been using for years now. And I promised a few people that I'd show them how they're going. They get daily use basically, and I've put them through absolute hell at some times. So we'll just have a look, probably not at all of them, but at a couple that I use the most. Most importantly, the 80 grit sintered diamonds over here, this barrel shape. I use this a hell of a lot, and you can see there is a significant difference. So we'll zoom in and have a good look. Here they are, sintered diamonds. So the sintered diamond, it's basically much like the Nova points, where you've got diamond mixed in with a resin, and then it's just cured together. These are like a metal powder and diamond powder, and you just sinter it together. So it can be done, a lot of the time it's just really high pressure, really high temperature, and it just fuses them as one. So all the way through here, you can see this is still untouched on the outside. That's how they come straight out of the factory. And this is what it looks like after a few years. And you can see there's not a lot of difference. There's still diamond, there's still metal, and that goes all the way through to the core. So right to the center part of these, both of these barrels will still be exactly the same as what's on the outside. And that is why they last so long, as opposed to something like an electroplated burr. Sometimes they don't even electroplate that well, and they're not even covered very well from the beginning. I haven't used this burr. It's a strange shape, so I haven't had much use for shapes like this, but you can see there are parts here where there's no abrasive at all. And then on ones that I have used a lot, very similar to these two, before I got sintered diamond burrs, this still looks like it's a little bit rough, but trust me, it is smooth. It is incredibly smooth. The diamond doesn't last. It's just basically like sandpaper. It's coated just on the outside, and on the inside it's just going to be more metal. So looking at these two, you can see the appearance of this one's a little bit frosted. It's a bit rougher on the surface. It'll smoothen out. If you don't want to wait or grind it up against some piece of stone that you don't want, what you can do is use something like this. So this is a aluminium oxide stick, and you can see here on the end I use it when I want to break in a new tool, because this is much smoother but still has the diamond to do the work, whereas it's just a little bit uneven, and you'll end up grinding a little bit with the metal as well. So you want to reduce that metal down so that it's mainly just the diamonds doing the work. Much smoother ride, and you'll do far less damage to your stones. But if you're just doing crust carving or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can just grind through with this. It's just when you start hitting the stone that you want, the opal in our case, you don't want to be really grinding it with metal. You'd much rather be grinding it with the diamonds with the smooth metal backing. Now, if we look really carefully at these two, you can see that the size is actually slightly different. This one was exactly like this burr, but I've ended up losing about 0.5 millimeter in diameter. With sintered diamond burrs or resin burrs, you want to be really careful the way you use them. So if you're grinding something and you just hold it right in the middle, you'll end up wearing like a concave, I'm exaggerating it here, but a very concave burr, and you'll get that all the way around, and you'll have a really skinny part in the middle and then like an hourglass shape around it. What you want to do is you want to make sure you're hitting on all the surface, kind of evenly if you want to keep it a nice straight edge, similar to what it is. And you can see I haven't done a bad job of that. It's in a little bit just here. So it seems like I've got a little bit of favoritism to using just this spot here where it's gone in a little bit more than I would like, but otherwise it's quite flat. See, just there you can see that it's gone in a little bit just here. So I've got to be aware of that and try to use a bit more of the ends. Of course, you're not going to really use this far end, so eventually your burr will always go in from the bottom, and probably from the top as well, unless you use the top part for grinding. But with the amount that I have used this burr in particular, I do a lot of my heavy grinding with this one. I do have a set that is just the 80 grit diamond, and you can see here there's one in particular that I use all the time when I'm just carving a lot of boulder opal crust, or a lot of mintaby stuff's really hard. So you can see this one gets really shiny, really smooth, and it's also been worn quite a bit. Got a bit of ironstone still on it. Didn't give it a good enough wash when I finished last. But you can see that one's been used quite a bit. And I use that just because look at the size of it. It's huge compared to these other ones. And I know it's going to last me basically a lifetime. especially with stones that are soft like opal or the ironstone matrix. If I give this new one a quick measure here, we are looking at just over 5, maybe 5.25 mil. So if I'm wearing that down at maybe 0.5 mil every 3 years or something, you can see that it might not last me a lifetime just because I do a lot of carving, but for a standard hobbyist, a set like this is probably going to last just about their entire life. Unlike an electroplated kit, which might last you just a year or maybe even just one session, I have had some that delaminate incredibly quickly and didn't even last an entire stone. So you can be really hit and miss with this electroplated diamond stuff. Sometimes you can get one that lasts a while, and if you're really gentle and use a lot of water, keep the heat off it, then they can last a while. But also, if you hit a hard stone, if you work something harder than opal, maybe fire agate or something, these are almost not even worth getting. The whole set for maybe 50 of these costs $20, whereas I've been selling this set for about 70, but that's gone up to about 80 now. You get so much more life out of these that unless you're really strapped for cash, I would always recommend people go straight for the sintered diamonds. If you're just a beginner and you're just looking to get into some Dremel work, maybe just try out the electroplated, because if you like it, then you'll like these even more. But if you really decide that you're not into the carving stone or anything, then you can easily just chuck these in the bin. You've lost $20 rather than losing closer to 100 for a set of these. All things to consider, but if we just have a quick look at maybe the finer grit. If we look at the finer grit one, you can see once again, it's a similar amount of use between these two. I use them quite a lot, but here I'm being a lot more gentle and it looks a lot more like the original brand new burr. Not a lot of shape change, maybe a little bit, but I might have lost, I don't know, 1/10 of a mil or something. Really not too bad. All it is a little bit shinier and smoother because this one's been untouched. But all in all, very much the same. It seems like the coarser and the rougher you are with them, the faster it's going to wear, which makes perfect sense. And that's why I've got these here, where I just do my really rough. You can see all of them have got a bit of ironstone on it because I do all my rough boulder opal with these kind of burrs. And this will make sure that I don't have to replace these ones as soon as I would need to if I was only using this. So hopefully that gives you guys a clearer idea on how much these can put up with. I carve videos for the channel basically every day, and yet I'm still not wearing through these. Somehow I've seen other people wear through them faster. Maybe they work harder stones than opal, but this will put up with a lot of punishment. And if you're really careful, you'll be able to keep them looking fairly similar all the way. Just got to make sure you wear evenly. And if you start noticing that you're wearing too much in one spot, maybe keep that in mind when you're actually working and start moving down to other areas, because you don't really want a shape to be carved into every carving you do for the rest of the life of the burr. But on that note, I'm going to go back to loading this one back in because I need it for a carving right now. So you'll see that on the channel, I am sure. Catch up.